Ghana, which was formerly called Gold Coast, came under colonial rule before its independence on 6 March 1957. In the 15th century, the Portuguese were the first Europeans to arrive at the Gold Coast in the year 1471. These Europeans settled at a place within the Gold Coast where they discovered gold on the land and named that place Damina, meaning the mine. Today, we can simply say Elmina, located at Cape Coast in the central region of Ghana. These Portuguese were led by a navigator called Prince Henry. In 1482, Don Diego de Azambuja helped in building the first castle in the Gold Coast at Elmina and named it St. George Castle. The Portuguese built this castle for a purpose. Firstly, to protect themselves from any attack by the Ashantis and some other groups who were at the southern and some other parts of the Gold Coast. Secondly, they built this castle to protect and enhance their trading activities, especially in gold, cotton, gunpowder, cloves, spices, slavery, and some other items that they traded in. Moreover, the British were attracted by the richness the Portuguese gained. They also came to the Gold Coast in the year 1553. They also came to trade, spread the gospel. They introduced and promoted education by building castle schools. By 1598, the Dutch were also in the Gold Coast to trade. They built forts like the Commander Fort along the coast in the central region. In 1637, they captured the Elmina Castle from the Portuguese and that of Azim, that's Fort St. Anthony, in the year 1642. Many other European traders came to the Gold Coast to trade. These included the Danes and the Swedes. These European traders built several forts along the coast. Furthermore, in 1872, the Dutch ceded their forts free to the British because they lost interest in the coast, thereby ending a period of a Dutch occupation lasting 274 years. By the year 1874, the British were the only Europeans in the Gold Coast and thus made them a crown colony. This in effect gave them total control over goods and services and other activities going on in the Gold Coast. Cape Coast Castle was the British governor's headquarters, and this castle is one of the tourist sites in Ghana, which is interesting to visit. Slaves were kept in this castle before their transport to the diaspora. Crossing the River Pra to the Ashanti Kingdom in 1874, the Ashantis fought with the British Army and under Sir Garnet Wesley. This war had been referred to as Segrenti War by the local people who could not mention the name Sir Garnet Wesley War properly. This was a war fought over governance. After the Ashantis' defeat, they were made to sign a peace treaty at Fomena, which was an agreement between the British and the Ashantis, preventing the Ashantis from invading some towns along the coast. At the same time, the Anlo people of the Volta region, or the Volta sector of the Gold Coast, were also defeated by the British. So therefore, the whole of southern Ghana, including the Anlo land, became a British colony on the 12th of September 1874. The capital town of the Gold Coast, now Ghana, was removed from Cape Coast to Accra. We must note that the Gold Coast or Ghana was colonized by the Great Britain. Now, someone may be wondering what it means by a country colonizing another country, thus colonization. When we say colonization, then we can say that it is the taking control of the political administration of a country by another country which is powerful in terms of development. A country that has come under the control of another country which is powerful is said to be a colony. And also, that country that has power over another country is a colonial master. Between 1939 to 1945 was the Second World War, and after that, things became worse in the Gold Coast. The discrimination against the educated Ghanaians in the civil service increased, and some high positions reserved for white men and Africans were being exploited by the Europeans and Asian companies. This made the ex-servicemen, who were the Ghanaian soldiers who fought in the Second World War, helped in exposing the weakness of the British. They also realized that they are strong and performed better than the whites on the battlefield, so they fought against the British. Now, the first political party in Ghana was the United Gold Coast Convention, thus the UGCC, which was formed on 4th August 1947. The chairman of the UGCC was George Parr Grant. The founding members of the United Gold Coast Convention were George Parr Grant, Dr. J.B. Dankwa Akwaje, Edward Akufo-Addo, who was the father of the current president of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and also Obichebi Lamte. Its slogan was self-government within the shortest possible time. That time, Sir Alan Barnes was the governor and made the Barnes Constitution, introduced in 1946, which had already been criticized by the UGCC. The UGCC invited Dr. Kwame Nkrumah home from his studies to become the full-time General Secretary of the party. Edgar Chief, called Ni Kwabena Boni III, organized a general boycott of all European imports in January 1948. Following the boycott were some series of riots in early February 1948. Due to some poor conditions, some ex-servicemen marched to submit a petition to the governor at the Christiansborg Castle. A white police officer called Superintendent Imrie gave orders to the policemen at the castle to shoot, but they refused. So the superintendent himself opened fire on the unarmed soldiers at the Christiansborg Crossroad, and 3 of the leaders fell dead. They were Odate Lamte, Sergeant Ajete, and Corporal Atipo. After that, riots broke out in Accra. The destruction of European and Asian stores. The central prison were opened by the rioters and freed the prisoners. The Secretary of the State, however, blamed the nationalist leaders for being responsible for the disturbances in the country, followed by the arrest and detainment of 6 of the leading nationalists. These leaders were Dr. J.B. Dankwa, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Obichebi Lamte, Akufo-Addo, William Ofori-Atta, and Akwaje. The party's ideologies did not please Dr. Kwame Nkrumah because he wanted self-government now, so left the UGCC and formed a more radical and nationalist party, which was the Convention People's Party, that's CPP, on the 12th of June 1949, with the slogan Self-Government Now. Kwadwo Bosio, Gwedema, and some others joined this party. The CPP organized a nationwide strike and boycott for the people. The people made their minds not to buy all British goods. Through this riot, 2 policemen were shot dead. In the 21st of January 1950, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and some other leaders of the CPP were imprisoned at the James Fort prison on what was termed positive action against the government. Whilst Nkrumah was in prison, a general election was conducted, and with the love the people developed for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah due to the bold steps that he took, he won the election and was released by the governor, Sir Charles Noble Eden-Clerk, to head the new government. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah became the Prime Minister in March 1952. In June 1953, he sent proposals for a new constitution, and the April 1954 constitution was introduced, which made the country self-governing, demanding an all-African cabinet from an enlarged legislature. Another general election was conducted in June 1954, and the CPP won again. In 1956, another election was held in response to a pledge by the British Secretary of State for the colonies that if the newly elected legislature by a reasonable majority passed a resolution calling for independence, a firm date for the changeover would be announced. The CPP won the seat. The mandated Togoland of the British also held a plebiscite to join the Gold Coast. This perfect act opened the chance for Ghana's independence on 6 March 1957. Then colonization in Ghana ended. Ghana emerged the first African country south of the Sahara to gain independence from colonial rule. On the Independence Celebration Day, on 6 March 1957, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah gave a very powerful speech. I quote and unquote, "At long last, the battle has ended, and Ghana, our beloved country, is free forever." The nation Ghana became a republic on 1st July 1960, with Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah becoming the first president of the country. With these interesting historical facts about the country Ghana, I will end by saying, Mone Adwumapa, to our dear forefathers who suffered a lot for our independence. Enjoy your day.